Hello, hello! Welcome back, day 43 of 100, and today we're going to be finishing up the intermediate algorithm scripting section. Gosh darn it, it has been quite a while that we've been on this, or it feels like it. I think it's just in general, the JavaScript that we've been busy with has been, quite intense and quite long, but I'm pretty excited for this. Completing this means we get to start working on projects, and that is exciting to me. So let's jump straight into it with arguments optional. Create a function that sums two arguments together. If only one argument is provided, then return a function that expects one argument and returns the sum. For example, add together 2, 3 should return 5, and add together 2 should return a function. Calling this return function with a single argument will then return the sum. Sum 2 and equal to add together 2. Sum 2 and 3 returns 5. If either argument isn't a valid number, return undefined. Calling this return function, a single argument will then return the sum. Will there only ever be 2 arguments? Because the first one would be 0, and the second one would be 1. Could I do something like arguments 0 plus arguments 1? That would solve the first issue, but then we still have other issues to solve, which is what happens when you call add together 2, 3? Let's see how this works. Isn't that like currying? Where does the 3 belong? Arguments 1 is empty. Argument 0 is 2. I think that's currying. Does currying work again? So we could do let's sum. Oh, so it's just arrow statements. y equal to, and then return x plus y. Not return? Oh no, it's just x plus y. So console.log sum is a function. Interesting. We also needed to return a function. And if I return sum, does that solve? Doesn't solve the 2, 3 as I'd hoped it would. And I'm guessing I can't just pass arguments in, can I? Nope. Wait. Yes. It works for add together 2, 3. So that works for the currying lens. I guess we can do an if statement. If arguments.length is greater than 1, then we're going to return this. Else, return the curry function that they want us to do. So that should solve the 2. Great. And then anything that's not a number cool, so we have that. Then we do if not number arguments 0. It's gonna be messy, but works, it works. 0 and 1. So if not a number, either of the arguments 0 or 1, as in the first or the second argument, then we're just going to return undefined. Is that going to break our second test though? Yeah, it does. Can always have it afterwards. If I want it here, then we need to just make sure that the second one that we're testing That should not disrupt this one. Cool. The issue with 2, 3, it's probably coercing 3 as a number. Three is a string. Why don't we just do type of it instead? Type of JavaScript. I think we could just use type of. We don't have to worry about any of those. So console.log type of arguments 0 give us a number, because it is, but 1 should be a string. Does it have to be capitalized? Or does it have to be like number, like that? Probably that. Okay, so you can do that number. So if type of, okay, so instead of not, it was supposed to be if. That should hopefully fix that issue. Okay, it fixes that one. No, we broke the other ones. That's weird. Okay, so 0 is false still. Why is it not returning? If type of argument 0 equal to a number. Wait, isn't it? I'm confused now. It's supposed to be not equal to. Not equal to number. That what it should be. There we go. And then the array is the only one that we need to still work. Zero is a number. 1 is not a number.
MP Dealer is following the family.
Hey MB Dealer, how's it going? Welcome to the family! Good to have you. So that's not an array. Let's just confirm for ourselves if we do type of that returns an object. That's false, so it's not a number. So the only issue is because of this. That's what's causing an issue right now. So now that should pass the last one, but then we're gonna break. Yeah. Guess we can add and arguments 1 not equal to blank. That's weird. Add together is now not a function, apparently. Not misclosing them. So when does this pass? If type of argument 0 is not equal to a number, or type of arguments 1 is not equal to a number and it's not empty. Would it pass for 2, 3? No. None of these should trigger for 2, 3. That shouldn't be the case. These in brackets again. Let's just start from the beginning again. The type of argument 0 not equal to a number. So that works for that. Now we need the second one. Or type of arguments 1 not equal to number, but then we get undefined because why does it fail the first one though? 2 would be a number and so is 3. Let's just check. If we do add together 2, 3, type of 0 is true for a number and type of 1 is a number as well, so they're both true. And this only triggers on if type of argument 0 not equal to number and type of argument 1 not equal to number. That's both false, so they should never get here. But I need to and these though, can I? That's so weird. Now we're getting a different one altogether. If I do type of arguments, we're going to get an object. So that should only add up for numbers. It's a tricky one. What happens if we have this one and we do type of argument 0? It's a number. 1 is undefined because it's not there. So we got those two down. That should return undefined. Okay, how about this? How about this? How about this? Start from the beginning. Let's match them one by one. If arguments 1 exists and arguments 1 and type of arguments 1 not equal to number, return undefined. That solves that one. Oh, because that's curried. I didn't realize that. No, that wasn't part of the original one. if that works. So that and that works. But now we've managed to break 2, 3. How does this break? X is a number, Y is a number. If type of X and type of Y are both equal to a number, X plus Y. So it's none of these. Type of Y, type of X. Both of them are numbers in our case. Is that the issue? Sometimes it doesn't like it when I do it like this. So type of X equal to number and type of Y equal to number. Is that your issue? Nope, that's not the issue. Should return 5, but it should, theoretically. Why isn't it? Both would pass the test. Console.log x. X is 2, Y is 3. X plus Y is 5. Oh, because, okay. There we go. Hoo. Gotta remember, when you're inside of a block, you need a return out of it. This was complicated. Man, I have like spaghetti code everywhere. But it works. It works. So the first thing we're doing is having a curry function that adds X and Y because of that. And we're making sure that both of them are a number. And if they are, we return X plus Y. The other one is checking that the second argument that's passed in is indeed a number, and if it's not a number, we return undefined. Same for argument 0. We return undefined if it's not a number. And then, based on the argument length, if there's more than one argument, we will sum the arguments 0 and 1, first and second. Else we use the curry function. And everything else was taken care of to set it as undefined. So anything that passes should be a curry function. Just save this for future reference. Where do we set the default line break? Old? End of line. That should be it. So even if I set this to CRLF, they get corrected. I'm surprised there's no option yet. Apparently a lot of people suggested it. Oh well, whatever. Okay, so we passed that. Nicely done. Now we need to make a person. Phone the object constructor with the following methods below. Get first name, get last name, get full name, set first name, set last name, set full name, first and last name. Cool. That's gonna be awesome. So what do you currently get? Bob.getFullName gives us an empty string, right? But where did we even set? We said new person. What the hell? So we need to somehow use string, split them, so that the first, so Bob Ross get full name should return it should return first and last, shouldn't it? So that works. That shouldn't be in there, I feel. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is somehow get first name and get last name in there. Get first name is going to be a function. Oops, sorry. We need to somehow take first and last name, and we need to split them. By spaces. So the first name is the first one. So 0 will give us Bob. So if we return first, so if we return first and last dot split and then get 0, that will give us Bob. And this dot get last name is going to be the same, except we get index 1, which should give us Ross. There we go. Let's just check, are we passing the tests? First and last, that works. And we need a set first name And we need a set last name. Okay. So set first name. Instead of get, it's set first name. It might honestly be easier if we actually have first name and last name. Check something. Yeah. So setting first names, we're gonna need gonna have to rework how we do get first name. This dot first name is going to equal this dot last name is going to equal that. So if I console log this dot first name, get Bob. I should get Bob. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so this is how we're going to do this. That's going to be our names, first and last name. So this dot get first name is going to literally be return this dot first name, and get last name is going to literally be this dot last name. Okay, and then set first name, you take in first name and you set this dot first name equal to first name. And set last name is going to be the same, except we're changing this dot last name to whatever last name is passed in. Bob get first name should return Bob, but it doesn't. That's strange. Get last name works. Why doesn't it work for Bob? Get first name works for me just fine. Bob dot get first name should return Bob. It returns Bob for me. Okay. I think there's something wrong with their tests, because why does it fail there but it works fine for me? Return this dot first name, which is Bob. Okay, either I'm messing up or they messed up, and I get really upset when they mess up. That's the problem. We can't set first name, because if we do that it has a property. They don't want us to do that. So this dot first name and this dot last name should return undefined. Damn it. So we can't do it this way. So it's gonna have to be done in here. That. Then this dot first name So we need to somehow store the first name. So maybe we can do this dot full name equal to first and last. And instead of first and last we do full name. That still allow us that still allow us to return the stuff? Yes, it does. Great stuff. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So we have this dot full name instead. So we have this dot full name is the first and last. This dot get full name is going to be return this dot full name. This dot get first name is this dot full name dot split at 0 and at 1. So set first name is going to be a tricky one. I think we can do it. This dot full name dot split zero equal to first name this dot full name dot split 0 with the first name console.log full name, or rather this dot full name is Bob Ross. We need to update the entire thing somehow. Plus this dot full name dot split 1. So test Ross. We need to add a space somehow. I mean, the crude way of doing it is just doing that. And then we set... we got Bob Ross here. So then we set this dot full name is equal to this dot full name dot split 0. Is actually this. So then if we console log full name, it's test Ross. Sweet. So this dot full name becomes first name plus a space plus this dot full name dot split 1, so we get the second part of the last name. And then to do the last name, it would be this dot full name equal to last name plus this dot full name dot split by 0. Should be this way. Plus last name. Probably have that there, plus last name. So if I console.log this out now, and we do a set last name, we would get test. And if I uncomment this, we'll get Bob test. Okay, awesome. So that works. But will it pass the tests? That's the question. Run the tests. Okay, so get full name. Haskell carry works for set last name, but it doesn't work when we set get full name. For setting full name, Haskell carry. Oh, should it return? No, that's just set. Set and set. Well, let's test it ourselves and see. Oh, I don't think we have one for set full name, do we? We don't have one for this dot set full name. We have get full name. We have get first name, get last name, set first name, set last name. We don't have a set full name. Ah dear. This dot set full name equal to function full name. This dot full name equal to full name. But now length is going to be wrong. But all of that passes just fine. So Bob.get first name should return Bob. Okay, so that all works fine. The only issue now is our length should only be 6. So because we added that, we failed. Get full name. But how else do we update it if we don't store it? We need to store full name somewhere, but if we do that, our length is incorrect. What don't we need? We need get first name, we need get last name. Get first, get last. Where's get full name? There it is. So get first name, get last name, get full name, set first name, set last name, set full name. That's the 6 that we're allowed. So where the hell am I supposed to store it if I'm not allowed to have it? Because the keys. And I can't even do something like let full name. That won't work, I think. Will it? Interesting, some work, some don't. Can I do that? Oh, I can. Ah, so you can actually have a variable in the object. Does that get inherited? So if I do console.log bob.fullname, I can't access it because it's local scope as part of the object, but the object still sees it. Okay. That should work. The only issue we have now is get full name should return Haskell curry after bob.setFullName Haskell curry. So it works except for when we set full name. Oh, okay. We need to rename this. I guess new full name. Hey, we did it! So maybe we should change all these to new last name instead. And first name should be new first name. Sweet. So that worked. Scopes. So having that variable inside of that object allowed us to set full name. Yeah, because this would then inherit and be accessible when you go .get first name or whatever. But since you can't access it outside of the creation of that object, that's perfect, because then internally in that object we can access all these things and change them. Oh, wow. That was awesome. Let's save this in my studies file. I'm just going to call it object constructor with methods. There we go, and we can move on. I think this is our last one, or second last one? I can't remember. Did we have 3 left? Yesterday, I think we did. So map the debris. Return a new array that transforms the element's average altitude into their orbital periods in seconds. Wow. The array will contain objects in the format name and average altitude. You can read about orbital periods on Wikipedia. Are you serious? The value should be rounded to the nearest whole number. The body being orbited is Earth. The radius of Earth is 6,367.4447 kilometers. And the GM value of Earth is 398,600.4418 kilometers cubed. S to the power of -2? What even is going on? Why is this even a thing? I don't understand. Are we like doing... Oh, I knew it! I knew it. This is how I get into Tesla, isn't it? SpaceX. So that I can work on orbital periods. This is so random. I've never even done anything like this before. Okay, but I do like space. So orbital... Okay. ISS, average altitude 413, name Hubble. Okay, so we're just gonna need some maths, I guess. So we don't care what they put in. They can put in Sputnik, they can put whatever. We just care about what they put in as the average altitude. So based on what the average altitude is, the orbital period will change. I wish I gave you the formula, because this is a bit random. Oh, by the way, guys, go read this article and figure it out. Good luck! I have no idea what orbital period is. So how do we calculate that? When a very small body is in a circular orbit barely above the surface of a sphere, or any radius and any mean density, the above equation simplifies to... Okay. Thus, the orbital period in low orbit depends only on the density of the central body, regardless of its size. Okay, whoever did this, like seriously, they must have a love for orbits and stuff. This is completely random. The actual fuck. Fucking random. Honestly, it is so random. If they at least gave us the function. There's the GM value. And there's the radius. What is the formula? Business requirements are often random? Yeah, I mean, but at least the business will tell you this is the function, this is how it needs to happen. I'm not a rocket scientist, but I mean, here's what you need to do, here's the values we need to put in. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Put this here, put that there, there you go, done. I'm not a scientist. And I would like to think programmers are not scientists, right? And depending on what field of programming you get into, this is supposed to be generalized for anyone. Anyway, let's see if we can find something. So we've got a GM, and we got the Earth radius. And small orbiting, according to Kepler's third law, the orbital period in seconds of 2 point masses orbiting each other in a circular or elliptic orbit is time is equal to 2 pi over the square root of a divided by... Okay, so a is the orbit's semi-major axis. Do we have that? We have the radius. Where does the radius fit into this? We have GM. Is that the radius? Fuck. Maths. Okay, let's go. JavaScript formula to calculate what? Orbital period in seconds. You have a GM and you have a radius. You have to map satellite altitude, total radius. Why do you need a total radius? Is that covered somewhere? I don't see anything relating to radius. Orbital v, is that orbital velocity? Orbital period. There's a 2 times mass pi. Yeah, I got that one. So time, what is that? Orbital period. The orbital period is 2 times pi times total radius. What is total radius? Total radius is the Earth radius plus the satellite altitude. Oh, where did they specify that? Where did they specify total radius at all? Fuck knows. I doubt that's A. Okay, so that makes sense then. Divided by the orbital v. What is orbital v? Square root of GM divided by total radius. Square root of GM divided by... Oh, so A3 is the orbital radius. I guess known as the semi-major axis. A little confusing when they're not quite named the same. Okay, so that's how we get that. So this is all of them in one. Then velocity is orbital velocity to fixed 4, because they wanted it in... Is there another way? I have experiment with the formula shown here. Yeah, exactly. That's the one we've also seen. If the orbit is circular, then A in that formula is the orbital radius, which is the sum of altitude and Earth's radius. Okay. But then why doesn't it state that anyway? What is Kepler's third law? Planetary motion. The square of the orbital period of a planet is directly proportional to the cube of the semi-major axis of its orbit. What is the semi-major axis? The major axis of an ellipse is the longest diameter, a line segment that runs through the center, which ends at the widest points of its perimeter. The semi-major axis, more properly major semi-axis, is one half of the major axis and thus runs from the center through a focus and to the perimeter. If you solve this problem, you're going to be Elon's boss. This is crazy. Like, if you follow the challenges, like, some stuff is hard, okay? Like, the hardest one that I've done in this challenge was, I think it was calculating the lowest common multiple in a range of numbers, including those numbers. So like getting the lowest common multiple is fine between two numbers. So let's say 1 and 5, that's fine. But you would have to include 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's 60 as the lowest common multiple. Now that was challenging. But this is just next level. That was just me forgetting, you know, high school maths 10 years ago. This... I've never done anything like this. This is crazy. This is... Don't they do this in physics or something? Because we didn't have that. But I would assume that this is something high schoolers would do nowadays. Back then we didn't do this. That was unlucky maybe? But I don't know how many people know this. So to have this as the final challenge... At least we know what the A would be in that equation, which is the sum of the radius of the Earth as well as the average altitude of the object. Wow. Okay, so back to the formula. Time in seconds is 2 times pi that's for the first part. Which part was that again? Oh no, it's a single equation. 2 times pi times the total radius being Earth's radius plus the satellite's altitude, divided by the orbital v. Now I still don't know what orbital v is. I'm assuming v is for velocity? I mean, what else could it be when you're dealing with objects like this? So orbital v is the square root of gm. Gm being the mass. Was it the mass? What is gm again? Standard gravitational parameter. G is the gravitational constant. M is the mass of the more massive body. So the larger of the two bodies? Gravitational constant, also known as the universal gravitational constant, is the Newtonian constant of gravitation, or the Cavendish gravitational constant, denoted by the letter G, is an empirical physical constant involved in the calculation of gravitational effects in Sir Isaac Newton's law of universal gravitation and in Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity. Yay, physics. Yeah. So we can tell that I opted out for physics in high school and I'm gonna regret it now. Okay, but let's not get into this because these are unrelated. So back to this, the gravitational constant, where m is the mass being Okay, so they already gave us GM. That's the value of Earth. G is the gravitational constant, which we already know. M is the mass, and that's a formula. Okay, so it's 2 times pi times the total radius, which is a3 there, divided by the orbital velocity being square root gm divided by total radius. That's total radius a3. So that's orbital v. Why map? With the square root of all the values in the original array. Oh. Interesting. So we got the GM, we got the Earth's radius. We want to be returning the array, and we want to be using map on it, and we want to have
Search for dollars,
data and I. What is the second parameter? The index, the current value.
That's scary.
So current value and index. What? There you go. JSON.stringify array gives us... Okay, so that's a Sputnik. Now we know what object we're passing in. So the first thing that needs to happen is we should probably get the variables that we need to work on. So we need A, which is the orbit's semi-major axis. Still don't understand that, I don't really get it. Longest diameter that runs through the center. Either way, whichever is longest. No wait, that's semi-major. That's semi-minor. Semi-major. But why? Why is that the Earth's radius plus the satellite's altitude? Is that the length between the two? So let total radius be Earth radius plus current value dot average altitude. Total radius is 42241. What if we change this to satellite? Current value just sounds weird. Is it a satellite? Technically, isn't it an object that orbits Earth is a satellite? So even any object is a satellite, if I'm not mistaken. I can't say object because that's a reserved name. What can we call this? Call it orbital object. There we go. So we need a total radius. Then what we need is... we got the GM. Yeah. What is an orbital V? Is that the velocity? Is that a thing? Depends on the distance from the center of mass of the Earth to the space station. Oh, it is. So it is orbital velocity. Okay, so we can call it let orbital velocity equal to, then we're gonna need the square root of GM divided by total radius. That total radius. GM divided by total radius. Okay, so let orbital velocity be math.square root our GM divided by total radius. And then we need the orbital period. And the orbital period is 2 point masses. Okay, so that's that entire one. And we need to round it down. So math.round 2 times, whoops, it was pi, right? Yeah, 2 times math.pi. Hold on, we need another bracket there. 2 times math.pi times the total radius Do we have velocity? We don't have velocity. So what is orbital period? In seconds. 265,408. And that is for the Sputnik? Oh. Hold on. I thought I need to divide this by the orbital velocity. And this... not here. Divided by orbital velocity. There. 86,400. That's the orbital period. And what do they want us to return? We need to return the object, an orbital period. So it wants me to return Sputnik, but without the average altitude. So let's test this quickly. Should be name, and then the orbital object dot name. And orbital period should be oh shit, that should be JSON.stringify. What are we returning? Which one is our console log now? Name Sputnik, orbital period. There. That's what they want, right? Name Sputnik, orbital period. That should be fine. So I should be able to just return that then, without stringifying it. See. I'd rather have this on one line. Might make it easier to read in that sense. Let's console log this to see what we get. We get an object, and if I JSON.stringify the object, we get name Sputnik, orbital period 86,400. And then what if I change it to Hubble and whatever that is, the altitude, we get 5734. Which one was I doing? It's Hubble. Is the Hubble going to be 5734? That's correct. Can owls handle multiple objects? Should be able to. Yeah, it does. Okay, so let's see if we pass. We do! Yes! Wow. So we don't need these anymore. We don't need that. So we got the total radius. That makes sense. Orbital velocity, orbital period. And then we're returning the object's original name with the orbital period only. Wow. Very interesting. Definitely going to be saving this. There we go. Run the tests. And we're done. And we're actually done! Yes! We did it! We are finally done with the intermediate section. Now it's just the projects that are left. A palindrome checker, a Roman numeral converter, Caesar cipher, a telephone number validator, and a cash register. They all sound far easier than the previous test. Was that test designed to filter out people that can work at SpaceX? I feel it was. Yay! Thank you, Pick. Oh, or maybe NASA. Maybe that was like NASA's introductory way of figuring out. Wow. So palindrome checker. If I'm not mistaken, a palindrome, it's something that can be read like forwards as you can backwards, like race car. If I'm not mistaken? Isn't that how it works? Race car is R-A-C-E-C-A-R. Yeah. That's a palindrome. So we've got palindrome checker, Roman numeral converter. I wonder what's easiest. I think cash register is going to be the most fun, for me at least. It's something practical. Telephone number I think is going to be the easiest. Followed by the Roman numeral converter, because that's literally just mapping digits. Checking if it's less than 10. Obviously 1 being I, 5 being V, stuff like that. That's easy. Palindrome checker, I can't really say. I have no idea how to do that. Caesar cipher, I have no idea what that is. So I think that's, yeah, in order of difficulty. I think I could do one now. And then... do I have time for one now? Let's have a look at it at least and see. So, palindrome checker. Return true if the given string is a palindrome, otherwise return false. This is interesting. We're not doing it like the projects that we did for HTML, where you have to submit it somewhere and have it checked. Interesting. A palindrome is a word or sentence that's spelled the same way both forward and backwards, ignoring punctuation, case, and spacing. You'll need to remove all non-alphanumeric characters, punctuation, space, and symbols to turn everything into the same case, lower or uppercase, in order to check for palindromes. We'll pass strings with varying formats, such as race car, and race car, and others. We'll also pass strings with special symbols. Okay, so let's get a regex going, huh? Good luck! Thanks. I won't need that. We're good with regex, aren't we, guys? So, match every non-word. I think that's all we'll need. Literally every non-word. So even if I were to add a special character in there, we're going to need every non-word and every digit. Is that a 1 or an L? There we go. So that should be our basic regex to match every number and every non-letter. So let's go. I'm gonna test with race car first. Console.log string. And we're going to do string.replace what was it? So either every non-word or number, we're going to replace it with there we go. And then we need to set it to lowercase to ensure that it's consistent. So now we got our regex to remove anything. That's fine. What does this return? That returns AA, which it would be. And this? Isn't there a reverse string method? Now that I think about it. Why do I think there's like a reverse? There is a reverse for an array, isn't there? Array.reverse. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so what if we string dot split? We split it. Why am I not seeing anything? Console.log string. What am I doing? String.split. And then dot reverse. You just do dot reverse. Let's first test that it's working. I'm gonna pass in B there, right? So we got AB. So if I go dot reverse, we should get BA. Yes, we do. Okay, so I want to know is if string is the same as string dot split dot reverse dot join. it should say true. And let's set this to A again. It's true. So I think that's all it is. We're taking a string and we're splitting it by every character, then we're reversing that array, and then we're joining it back again. And if they're the same backwards as they are forwards, it should just return true. So we just do return true, and here we return false if that doesn't match. Let's run the tests and check. We passed everything except for one, underscore. How did we not match an underscore? That's not a word though. How is that not being matched? Oh, did I have an uppercase D? No, I had a lowercase d. Interesting, so it doesn't match that. I thought that's or. Either match that. Oh, so underscore is considered. Oh. Underscores are considered alphanumeric. But I have to do or. Do I have to escape it? Like literal? Shouldn't have to. So we need to add that or an underscore. And also we're not... Okay, there must be a better way. Because we're also not matching the... Wait, we are matching the dot. Why are we not getting one eye for of one eye? Let's test and see. What is going on here? Console.log. Pretty good for a first attempt. We got like 90-something% of them. So this is true. It should return false. Why? Oh wait, we're supposed to keep alphanumerics. So we must keep alphanumerics. So then, there we go. Okay, so I wasn't supposed to move the numbers. Now it works fine. Well, that was easy. I expected that to be way harder. So all we did was string.replace. I just realized we can have this all in a single if statement. We can do this one up. We can do string.replace, so we have that entire thing up there. So like that. Is equal to oh, it's going to be long, but it can be in a single line. I just want to see if that will work. So if that is equal to that, if it's true, return true, else false without the return, and then just return. So have it like that. And then run the test. It's weird that some work, but some don't. Did I get the order wrong? This is the... If the strings are the same, it should return true. As in, yes, it is a palindrome, else false. So why is it failing? I probably need to do this first. I don't need a 2 lowercase here, I just realized. Why do I have a 2 lowercase twice? Wait. What? We need to just split it. Why did I duplicate it twice and then join? That's weird. Dot split, dot reverse, dot join. Run tests. Hey, we did it. There we go. So that's a single line. Wow. If we wanted to go that far. And then we're not mutating anything at all. That's then a functional... That's functional programming right there. You could try taking out the ternary. What do you mean? That's crazy. So we just turned it into a single line. The first is mutating, the second is non-mutating. What did you mean, Pick, by you could try taking out the ternary? You mean in the case that wasn't working? Just return the equality check. It should still return a boolean. Oh, right, yeah, it would. Right. But how do I omit them? Oh, you just mean return without the ternary. Right, I get what you mean. Just like that. Yeah, it should. Yeah, that works. Because it's a condition that we're checking. It will either be true or false. Nicely done. Even better, no ternary needed. Yay! So I'm gonna save this. JavaScript projects. This is the palindrome checker. So palindrome checker. go and let us... What happened here? Oh, it wants LF line breaks. So... initial, all this initial solution. Updated solution, non-mutating single line, even though it's not on a single line because of formatting. It would be a single line. That's so much better. 2 lowercase equal to string to replace. I like how it did this, the formatting. Dot replace, dot lowercase, dot split, dot reverse, dot join. You can like literally see what's going on. Isn't that cool? Why doesn't it want me to do that there? Weird. Because of the single line, I guess. So many methods happening all at once. It's so cool. I love it. We first replace everything, then we make it all lowercase, then we split it by each character, then we reverse the array, then we join it back and it's a string. Oh, I love it. There we go. That's our first project. Done.
Rooney Frey is following the family.
Welcome to the family, Rooney Frey. I hope you're happy with the red pool. As was the red pool. The red pool is pretty cool. It's just a pool that's red. But the red pool that has a floating red pool is really awesome because it gets to show you just how deep the rabbit hole goes. It's like very complex. I could try explaining it, but I wouldn't get very far. Thanks for following. I appreciate it. So we did that. I like that. The single one-liner. It's nice. I'll leave in my original solution. I guess that's a bit easier to read. Even though it's mutating. I like the difference that I'm working on between mutating and non-mutating values. And as we progress more towards functional programming, I'm going to do a whole lot less of that. I mean, I could have assigned it to a variable or whatever. But yeah, I'm happy with that. So we passed the solution and we did it. Oh! So this is the next one. The Roman numeral converter. That surprisingly it didn't take that long, so I might as well give this one a crack. And then finish up for the night and do the rest tomorrow. This one I said should be relatively simple. All we know is gotta break it down. What's the largest denominator? I think they only ever went up to m, right? I think m was the highest. No? You had I? Wait, what? That's confusing. No! What's the largest denominator? 1000, so m. Okay. So we're gonna have to check the largest denominator each time. This will be interesting. How can we do this? Definitely an if runs to mind with the largest denominator. Something like if num greater than or equal to m, greater than or equal to 1000, then we're gonna need a return string. String equal to string plus m. Was m, yeah. M was 1000. M was 1000. So if num is greater than or equal to 1000, I'm gonna rather do this, because what I want to do is then remove the amount that I'm assigning. So then val something like that. So we add m to our string, we remove 1000 from the value, and then we keep going. Will this work though? That's the question. Is there a better way of doing this? Because now what if it's 2000? You would have to loop. There must be a better way of doing this. Like if I did modulus I'd be able to do it so much quicker. We definitely need a while loop in here. I'm gonna misspell while until I figure out while num greater than 0. No, while val greater than 0. Then this will keep looping. Greater than or equal to 500. 500. Messy, but we'll find a better solution afterwards. So this is for D. Luckily there aren't that many numerals. And then we're just gonna pop in another else if. Greater than or equal to 100 is C. And then it's L for 50. And then it's 10 for X. And then it is 5 for V. And then it is 1. I think that's it. XV. Let's hope nothing breaks. Okay, rip. I'm gonna copy this just in case. Console.log. What is string? Okay, that is incorrect. XXXVI. How? How did you get that? I mean, that's 36. Wait. Never mind. I was thinking of something else now. I don't know why I thought that was 1,000. So that's correct. 29 should return XXIX, which it doesn't. What is wrong with our system? How the 5? Cause 9. Oh, I forgot about the order. IX is 9, IV is 4. How do I tell it? Oh no. Wait, can we manually fix that? I think that's only ever an issue. XL. Oh no, they are denominators. XL is 40 because X is 10 and L, wait, L is 50? Yeah, L is 50. XL would be 10. It's almost like it removes 1. X is 10, L is 50, XL is 50 minus X, which is 40. Oh yeah, here's the formatting rule. Medical Xavier. That's smart. When a symbol appears after a larger or equal symbol, it is added. Vi equal to V plus I equal to 5 plus 1. Our system does that correctly. But if the symbol appears before a larger symbol, it is subtracted. Can we somehow still salvage this? It should have returned IX. If the number is 9, let's test something. I don't think it's going to work, but we might as well test it. Nine is IX. And 4 would be IV. But I don't think that's going to work, because in the case of 40, whoops, we should get XL, and we get XXXX. Which is correct, but imagine they were counting like that. So we need to take the next denominator, a rule that states that you can't have more than 3. Actually more than 2, isn't it? No, it's more than 3, yeah. It was I, then IV minus 1. The next one up minus 1. Two, 5 times 2 times 5 times 2. The system almost looks like it's going 5 times 2 times 5 times 2 times 5 times 2. If that's the order, okay, this is getting complicated really fast, because now I need to take into account every rule. We could just format the strings afterwards, couldn't we? But there would be way too many to manually replace. I'd have to think of every combination where this would be an issue. 4 is fine, and 9 is fine, because we manually set that. What happens with 80? Is it L triple X? Yeah, it is. What if the only issues are at 40 and 90, like 4 and 9? That's the pattern. It doesn't ever go higher than that, does it? Does that mean we only have to add cases for 40, 90, 400 and 900? This is the least efficient way of doing this. So definitely refactor. So 40 should be XL, was it? And 90 which is CX, XC. Forty, 90, 400 and 900. 400 and 900. 400 is CD. 900 which is CM. And now there's going to be another issue that we're going to run into, because the value may not be exactly. So it should be greater than or equal to 900. Greater than or equal to 900. Greater than or equal to 400. Greater than or equal to 90. Greater than or equal to 40. Can't be greater than 9, because then that would be 10. These should be fine. We're still getting LXXX for 80. No, that's fine. 90 should be XC. It is. Good. Which is the one that had an issue? 29. XXIX, that's correct. 97. XCVII. 98. 99. Hey, XCIX. That worked. Do we pass all of the tests? Ooh, let's see what 3999 is. CM XCIX. I think we cracked it. The worst way to do this. Do not do it this way. I can't even scroll down the... Oh, here it is. Run tests. Oh, yeah. We not returning string. Run the tests. There, we passed. In the worst way possible. We mapped them. Thankfully, the Romans only went up to 1000, and the only rules are 4 and 9, being 4 is 5 minus 1 in the symbol hierarchy, and 9 is 10 minus 1. But they never went past 1000. So 1000 is M, 2000 would be double M, 3000 is triple M, 4000 would be... because you can't have more than 3 symbols in a row. Actually, what would 4000 be? Oh wait, it would be? You would just have M, 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 really? Is that how they would do it? You would have a shit ton of M's. That would be hard to read. So numbers greater than 1000 are formed by placing a dash over the symbol. Okay, so 1000 M's is a million. How does that work? If M is 1000, do you mean adding 3 zeros to 1000? Because 1000 times 1000. Wait. Oh, it's 1000. Okay. 1000 times 1000 is a million. 5000 is 5 times 1000. Okay, so that's probably how they did it. They just added dashes. That makes it easier to read. How did we go from Roman numerals to the numbers that we have today? That's crazy. If we started with the numerals like that, how? Because our numbers are so much easier to read. I mean, they take up less space, for one. Is it just having the digits, a single digit for 1 to 9, where they needed 2 digits or more? 3 was literally 3 characters, where 3 in our system is just a single character. Amazing. Anyway, is there a better way to do this? I don't think I could think of one right now. This is the worst way to do it. I don't think I've ever seen that many else if statements. Oh my god. But the while loop was clever, because I would just keep going until number is 0. So long as it's greater than or equal to 0. So if we give it a crazy high number like 4 million. Oh, it's m to the... Oh my god, there's so many m's. And a 30 at the end. Can someone read this out? Your bank account is Oh god, imagine. They would kill you if you had more than like, I don't know, 1 million worth of anything. Couldn't you do it as a switch statement? Hey James, good to have you here. I could, yeah. It would still be not ideal because there would still be too many cases overall. It would save me a few lines, but it would ideally what I'd want is something in the range of 3 to 5 lines. I know it can be done. Most things can be done in a single line. Let me think. Add a number. Yeah, but you'd need a way to know what to do with that character. If it was a certain amount, you need to add a certain character. And because we're starting from the highest one, we're always guaranteed we're going to put the right character in the right order as we build our string. Maybe we can come back to it at some point in time, but for now, this works. The switch would definitely reduce the amount of code, but it would still be too much. Eek, you say you would make each condition into a predicate function, put it in a list, then reduce right. But that's just me. Yours is a valid solution. What is a predicate function again? I remember reading that recently. Starting, right. Oh, it returns a boolean. So what would you be checking? If that number is this, then true, then do this. And then you reduce right. And then someone somewhere has probably done this in like a single line. It's like a replace. Wait, couldn't we do replace? Wherever you see 1,000, put an M. Wherever you see, you know what I mean? Couldn't you literally do this with regex? On the spot? Would that actually work? If we see a 1, we'll turn the 1 into an I, and oh, the problem with that is it wouldn't understand the value of that number. So 1 would become I, but 2 would become 2 I's. That would leave it with 3. And not X, I. Would have to somehow know how large that number is. Pooh. Predicate functions dot reduce right f input number. Is reduce right a function? I never knew about that. Is there a reduce left as well? The reduce right method applies a function against an accumulator and each value of the array from right to left to reduce it to a single value. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dot reduce right. 4, 5, 2, 3, 0, 1. How would this be different to reduce? Because obviously this is reduce. Reduce right. Oh, because reduce is left to right. This is right to left. Okay. So it's the same as reduce. It's just you're changing the position that you take it in. If you're adding things, it wouldn't really matter, would it? Reduce right or reduce, the numbers will add up the same. The only time I'd see this being different is if you're multiplying, or any other form of that sort, because then obviously the two numbers depending on, wouldn't it? Yeah, I definitely need to learn how to work on more complex and higher order functions. Because I can't still be doing this. This is like basic stuff. The problem is I don't know a better solution. And this is a problem with my code. It ends up being so verbose because that's the only solution I know. So reduce right. Do you have an idea of how I'll do that, Peak? Because if you do, then I don't mind trying it, because I can at least learn something new. I'm not sure what I'd put into the predicate functions. Would that wouldn't be, yeah, that wouldn't be the number. That's an array. Array.reduce right. F. And then F is the function with the input number. What is F then? What will be an F? Would F be the one that returns a boolean? If you can help me fill in the blanks between what F function would be and what predicate functions would be. F is all your predicate functions. Okay, what would be inside of that? Sorry, if I could just visualize it, because right now I'm just drawing a blank. First predicate function is const greater than 1000 equal to n. Oh, I haven't really worked with much of these. You're kind of setting a variable that has a function, aren't you? Because I'm not used to those. I'm used to a function being a function, but you could set a function to a variable. Okay, so I'll write... Hey Christophorus! Yeah, I am at the projects. The palindrome one was easy. And then I wrote a bit of spaghetti code to solve this one. Which works, but now we're trying to find a more elegant solution. Okay, so let me try... So you say... That's going to be our constant. Greater 1000 is equal to n. So how does it work when you do a function in a variable? Because I'm not used to that. So when I say equal to n, is n the same as in an arrow function? Wait, this is essentially an arrow function, isn't it? Because n is the placeholder variable that you're going to use inside of the function, right? And then you're saying n greater than 1000. This is now a ternary operator. But there's no return. That's what I get confused on, because you'd usually return to get the value. So if you're assigning a variable, there's no return. Is it just the value? Okay, so it's an arrow function. I'm now the boss of Elon. Because I solved some space problem, yeah. Let me show Christopherus actually. This was freaking hard. I can't believe they put it in. God damn. It was the orbital period of objects, and I had to go and look at how to calculate these things, but I figured out that apparently to get the total radius of the object you need to include Earth's radius plus the orbital object's average altitude, which doesn't make sense, but I assume that's the part where you need to calculate the distance between Earth and the altitude, which in this case is A, or A3 in this calculation, because it's 2 times pi for the first part, then getting the square root of GM divided by the total radius. So I don't understand how they would find this as something easy. But anyway, we got the orbital velocity, which is that first part, which is GM divided by total radius over there. And then the total radius we already got. And then the orbital period is taking 2 times pi times the total radius divided by the orbital velocity. And then from there, we just had to return the name that they're passing in, so in this case Sputnik, and returning orbital period. But that's, yeah, I guess the problem of not doing physics in high school. I'm sure for other people that would have been easy. For me, this was like a complete new... I'm like, how do you want us to do this? And I feel it's like a little bit unfair to those people like myself who have never done physics. Imagine, like, everything else is manageable and then your last challenge is something you've never ever worked with before. I guess it promotes Googling and figuring out a new function. And thankfully they gave us GM. Imagine we had to still calculate that for ourselves. You would have to freaking get the gravitational constant of the object and then get the mass of the more massive body, in this case being Earth. Earth's maths. And the palindrome checker was really easy. My first solution is I just took the string that they passed in this case being I, and then I did some sanitary checks, so made sure that I removed any non-words and underscores, and then I lowercased it. And then what I did was I literally compared the string as it is to splitting that string by every character, then reversing it, so completely reversing the array, then rejoining it, and then making sure they're the same, because we need to compare is it the same forwards as it is backwards. So that ended up working, but then I wanted a better solution. So in a single line, I could do what I did there, and just do string.replace, is it equal to string.replace, dot to lowercase, dot split, dot reverse, dot join, and that is literally all in a single return line statement, and this is non-mutating, where that one is mutating. So that was something new, and now I'm trying to do the same for the Roman numerals converter, and that's what Peak is trying to help me with now. So greater 1000 is a arrow function where it has n being the number greater than 1000. Okay, so we got greater than 1000. Would I do the same for the others, Peak? So like greater 500? Would I have to do it for each one? The 500 being, was it D? Yeah, it was D. Yeah, all your conditions. Okay, so D and then C. C was for 100. And that's greater 100. Then it's just 50, 10, 5, 1. $50, which is L, greater 10. Was it? L, yeah, 10, which is X, greater 5. Do I need... I don't need greater 1, do I? That's all I need. I'll stop there. And did you notice the pattern? It's always 5, then times 2 is 10, then times 5 is 50, times 2 is 100, times 5 is 500. So it goes in an alternating pattern of 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2. So I don't know if that helps us in any way, but I noticed that pattern. Okay, so now that we have the predicate conditions, well, those are the functions, right? Then I need to pass them all into 1. But how do I call them all? Do I have to put them all into an array or something? Because you're calling reduce right, but that looks like you're calling it on an array. So how do I add them all? Would I have to literally do greater 1000, comma, greater 500, comma, greater 100, comma, greater 50, comma, greater 10, greater 5? Okay. So I would have to do it like that. Dot reduce right. Then F is the function, and then we put the number in, which is num, right? So F greater than num. Yeah. Wait, F num, not F. Oh, I'm missing the F. Function, right, I need to call the function. Oh, so it's calling each function and then passing. Okay. This is interesting. Oh, you need to have a comma? You need to have a comma? Like that? Why? Second parameter is your stop. Oh, okay, right. So where's it putting it into? We need to return this. Right. So I just return that. And that will give me. So if I console.log this, I should get the same output. But something needs to call it first. So we should. No, that should have worked. Shouldn't have. Did I make a mistake somewhere? No, I didn't. This should be logging that value. Oh, didn't you say I need that in the while loop? Or did you say that replaces the while loop? Because reduce right is the same as reduce, would be like a while loop. So I don't need the while. But why is it not outputting anything? Oh, so we need 2 extra variables. Oh, well, 1 extra. Accumulator function. There we go. So there's the old way. Does it match up with mine? I get D for 500. Wait, mine? Yeah, it is 500 for D. Yours is CLXV. CLXV. That's 165. Why is yours outputting 165? It's only doing it once though, or what? It just concatenated all the letters. What? But even if it did, they don't add up to 500 though. CLXV. There are different conditions like CM. Yeah, CM. Oh, you mean like the 9s and the 4s? The only differences are the 9s and the 4s. So do I have to literally... But how does this end up being a little bit better? Yeah, it still ends up being verbose. So do you want me to do the same for 40 and 4 and 9, 40 and 90, and 400 and 900? Those are the only differences. Should I add those in as well? Because 400 is CD. And 40 is XL. That's always... Remember the formula, if this helps, is the next one minus the current one. So 40 is 50, L, minus X, 10. Try taking out the plus plus accumulate and the reduce. Okay, hold on, let me do that quick. Try taking out the plus accumulator. We get nothing. It's minus the accumulator. But how's it ever gonna get back to the next big one? It needs to stay. If the number is 3000, it needs to do this 3 times before it comes down. Isn't this essentially just going to call the first function, then the second function, then the third, regardless of the value? Oh, but that's why you're checking if it's greater than 1000. But the problem is if it gets to the second function and the number remaining is still 1000, greater than 500 will be true and it will put D regardless. It needs some kind of condition check. And it needs to stay in that current number if the value hasn't gone down below the breakpoint. So if we 5,000, we get in here, it reduces it by 1,000, then another 1,000, then another 1,000. So it needs to be MMM. And only once it's below 1,000 can we drop to the next one. And then we would keep repeating this one for as long as this is true. And then we drop down, then we drop down, then we keep, you know, like cascading. I'm not sure what reduce write is doing, but that is what should theoretically happen, because that's what I did here for my solution. Start at the highest and go down. Let me add the greater 400, let's see if it makes a difference. Because maybe you had it right and you're just missing the ones like I added. Oh no. It just keeps adding all of them. Oh, what is that number even? I think if we had to add all of those together, it will probably end up being D. It's like you said, it's concatenating all of them. And yeah, you were missing the conditions that I had. Ah yeah, there's that value minus equal to. Yeah, so value was just to ensure that it doesn't keep... That was just to break the while loop though, you won't need that. Reduce and all the higher function methods are like whiles or like loops. So you wouldn't need to have this. And you have index inside of reduce. If I'm not mistaken, the second the second one is current. And the third one is the index. If I'm not mistaken. Accumulator, current value, index, yeah. So you could set index to whatever num is, and then de-increment index. I'm not sure. But this is a cool concept. And you help me understand like variables and functions. That's interesting. So you know how you would normally have a function, right? Why would you ever put a function in a variable? Is that to pass it into another function? But you can already pass a function to a function. Why would you put a function in a variable? It just confuses me a bit. Is it so I don't have to do a ternary and I can just do console.log greater 1000 to get the value, true or false? Wait, if I call greater 1000 it returns a function? Oh, because it doesn't return anything. Oh, because you have to pass n. Wait, so do I just put in 1000 there? Oh. Okay. So that's a... What the hell? That's like a function, but... in a... What? My mind is just like... Which one? The n? No, this. Greater 1000. I would write a function as greater 1000. Like this. Function greater 1000. N. That's how I would do it. You know what I mean? That's how I would write it. That's why my mind is blown, because so when you call greater 1000, it's like you would call a function, except that it's stored in a variable. Why would you do that? why would you do that over this? So this would be the same as doing this. Let me just make sure I get this first. Wait, does that mean I don't need to... This would be the same essentially, right? This is identical to that, right? Just put the return in. Right. How is it that you don't need to add a return here? Is it because of assignment? When it comes to scoping, they're different. Okay, how are they different? So confusing, but also interesting, because I've only ever written functions in, well, you know, the function block. Function greater 100 is tied to the class it's in. Okay, if it was in a class. And what do you mean by class? Because JavaScript doesn't have classes. You mean inside of like object constructors, that class? The pseudo class? Okay. Okay, so if we were in a so based on my so let's say I had this. This is my old class. So let's add a function here, and I put greater Mark 3 in here, right? So that's a function, and you would access it by going user dot greater 1000 Mark 3 and passing in a number, right? Right. Okay. So that's only accessible if you go user dot greater 1000 Mark 3. Then the greater 1000 is accessible anyway, right? Because it's pretty much global scope. But then why wouldn't you just have greater 1000 Mark 3 as a function like this outside of the scope? Isn't that a global function that's accessible inside of any other object? Or is it not? So it ties into the most global. Okay. So what you're saying is when you don't want as specific as a global, but you want something more specific than the class, is that when you would use that? So you don't want a global scope, but you want something higher than the current scope you're in. Okay, so that being said, can you give me then the example between a function like this in a class and a function like that? Let's say I stuck that in the class. This is going to be mark 4. You can't do that. Can only be used in a TS file. What? What? Let is TS TypeScript. So you can't have a variable in a class? You can have a variable in a constructor, but not in a class. What the hell? So classes can only have methods in them? The reason I use arrow function is when I start to pass functions around, I won't worry about what scope it's tied to. Okay. So is it just a kind of a better safe than sorry, but if you know what you're doing, you don't have to really do it that way. I thought there would be like a specific reason why you do it. Okay, so just know the scoping rules of JavaScript and you should be good. Okay. Fair enough. Well, thanks for that. Yeah. As for solving this issue, do you have any idea what we can do, or do you think we should just leave it? I mean, I'm happy leaving it, because we solved the problem already. I would obviously like to learn to do this in a better way, but if you're unsure, because I sure as hell am, like I have no idea what's going on. I just don't want to do some function that bind my class. Yeah, fair enough. I wonder when they're going to teach us how to do bind. I'd say leave it for now, but feel free to explore it. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to save it. I've got this all saved up. So nice. Cool. Well, that was fun. And Christopher, I could show you my solution if you want. Yeah, go for it. Oh, and did you get my message on Discord, Christopher? I don't know how often you are on Discord, but I'd sent you a message. So, do I want to become a game dev? How did you know this? Where does it say this? Have I chosen a platform? You mean in terms of like operating system platform? Oh, you mean type of engine? Probably Unity, because of the flexibility and just the amount of resources that exist. I mean, Unreal has like quite a bit, but I just feel Unity has way more in terms of the community, in terms of things that you can add, things that you can buy, especially if you're not going to do your own assets. And then the fact that the language, like you could just use C# or whatever. I think Unreal has some similarities, but I'm not sure. I just feel there's so much more in Unity. Christopher's, you don't need to save the solution for the JavaScript project. No, I just do it to save it for myself for future reference. It's also weird that it's not the same as the HTML projects where you had to actually create a pen and then do everything and then link it. There's nothing to like do of that sort. And Peak, thanks. It's probably going to be a while before I start. I've no idea what to expect, but it's just always been my lifelong dream to just make a game. And it'll probably be in the vein of something strategy. I don't know why, I've just always loved strategy games. Probably start off something simple like an incremental game. And see. And then one day it'll be amazing, you know, to be a part of a team. Always had that dream ever since I was a kid, and I played Daggerfall Arena, so one of the original Elder Scrolls games was to work for Bethesda. So that'll be really cool. To do pretty much anything game dev related with Bethesda. Yeah, other than that, start off in some like local company that does game dev and get some experience, I guess. Jonathan Blow? Is that the designer from Braid? Okay, so let's see, what have we got here? Roman numerals. Oh, that's a nice clean solution, Christopher. Dot map value. That's cool, the value that you pass in. And then reverse and then join it. That's cool. Similar to the reverse and join that I was doing. He was streaming a lot last week. Okay, no, I had no idea. It's good to know. I'll keep an eye out for Jonathan. But thanks for that, Peak. I think you got to start somewhere, so I'm sure when I get to that point I'll be asking the community where I start, what I should do. But I'll probably, like I said, do something very simple. Incremental game I think is going to be the most simplest thing, because you don't have to worry too much about the UI and this and the that and the player aspect, you know, and controls, because it's all pretty much just pure code running. But before I do that, I'll probably do a incremental game in JavaScript using local storage. It'll give me a reason to play around with local storage because I want to implement that. I'll probably end up implementing it in one of my projects that I've already done. But yeah, local storage for saving the, you know, game progress. And then once I've actually done a game, then I'll have the experience to, you know, maybe port it over to Unity and then try to improve it from there. And I think what's nice with all the assets that are available in the store, you actually, because you see I'm limited by art. I can't do anything. Animations, textures. I've done some basic retexturing on a lot of DDS files, so like Skyrim files. Again, it's all Bethesda related. I just love Bethesda games. So I know how to create textures. I also know how to create normal maps, specular maps. I know how to create parallax from the height map. So when it comes to texturing, I know how those things work. I just can't generally create something from scratch, and I have no idea where, you know, animation begins. I don't really want to split myself too far. I'd rather, you know, stick to one thing that I'm really good at, like programming, than, you know, try my hand at animation and this and that. So that's what I like about the store. You could just, you know, get stuff already made. And then if you actually somehow end up being successful with funding, you can actually, you know, start up a little team and then they all do their own thing. I don't think you're far off. Good luck with that first game. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. That's really kind of you. It's really awesome. Thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm really close to... Let's see. So the projects, once these are done, my plan is to complete FCC completely. And JavaScript has been the longest running one so far, but this is it. This is literally the penultimate challenge, the projects. And then we're done with that. So once we're done with the projects, which there's only 3 to do, then it's the front end stuff, which I feel is going to be relatively easy. Because I've seen a lot of things with React. I've already had some kind of work experience with Sass. jQuery is just going to make the JavaScript I know so much easier. And then from there, the data visualization, knowing the front and back end stuff that I know, should be relatively simple. The API stuff, like I've always said, I'm so excited for. This will allow me to work with backend and JavaScript, which should allow me to work on that game project, because then I don't have to necessarily just rely on local storage. So I think at some point I should create the game, use local storage, and then once I get to this part, I can use what I've learned to then convert it to backend and then store everything on an actual server. And yeah, and then I think the coding interview prep I'll do at some other point, because the Project Euler has so many problems, like 480. So I don't think I'm going to be spending my 100 days of code challenge going through these. I just, it's so much. And especially because I suck at math, and like 95% of this, yeah, well 100% of it would be math related. So where's my solution? If it apparently saves it, is it under my profile? Oh, there it is. Can I redo the solution? What happens if you complete project? Will take you to the page, I assume. So I should probably update that, because that has a mix of things. That's not too good. Oh no, I didn't save it locally. I wanted to. It's a good thing it does save. Can I redo it? And that's how I've already got saved, so that's our original solution. What a hideous solution. But it works. Will it update the solution though? Hopefully. And then in my projects folder I should just save this as .js. Local storage isn't that hard. Yeah, no, it's not hard at all. I know it's not hard, I've worked with it. I'm just saying implementing it in a project that I want to do. And then once I've gotten to the API part, then I want to use Node to store user data. It's fine. There's a complexity of 15, yeah. the if loop is the complex part there, no wonder. So that's it. I guess we're done then for now. I'm gonna... the cipher rot 13, I've heard of this. Oh, so it's just shifted by 13 places. Oh, so rotate by 13, rot. That's cool. So yeah, we can tackle this tomorrow. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So that's gonna be me for now, guys. Surprisingly, the initial challenge wasn't that hard. The second one, once we figured out how to calculate, well, no, the end of the intermediate algorithm scripting, once we figured out how to calculate that function, that was relatively easy. We managed to do 2 challenges today. That means we have just 3 left. The cipher, the cash register, and there was one more. What was it? Cash register, the cipher, and the telephone number validator, which I said should be pretty easy, considering the fact that I had to create a validator for my own log formatter. I have many hours of experience with validating stuff. So that should be literally the easiest one from that. Cash register, I'm not gonna like comment on difficulty, but I know it's gonna be the most fun. Mainly because it's actually something that you're building it's I don't know, it's exciting to me. Being able to ring things up and like get a value and like add, that's just fun for me. I wouldn't use a cipher or like the converter or the palindrome checker. Like, they're useless to me. They're like cool to build as a project, but the cash register is just fun. I don't know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But that's going to be tomorrow. And then I assume, I don't know if we can get it all done tomorrow, mainly based on the cash register, but I'm pretty sure we could do 2 of them tomorrow. But we'll see how things go. And then from there, we start the long trek of front end. Everyone's talking about React and Redux, and both of them. I'm looking forward to Sass specifically so that I can work with variables. That's exciting. And then I don't know if I'm going to adopt jQuery. Mainly because it's a dependency, and the more things you use, the larger the scope for dependency issues and this and that. So it'll be good to know at least. I'm pretty happy with knowing JavaScript, and I want to get to the point where I know it intimately before I actually use something that's going to make it easier. We keeps it real. Yes, we are done for the day. We had quite the exciting time, but I will be back again tomorrow. I know it's like hard trying to get all of you at the same time because of the time zone differences. Yes, intimately. I want to have a very intimate relationship with JavaScript. I want to know every facet of every method. So yeah, but that's tomorrow. And they made it so you must use regex. Well, I'm looking forward to it. It means that I can work on my regex skills. I'm ready. I am ready. But yeah, I hope you guys have an incredible evening, day further, wherever you guys are. Some of you in the future, some of you in the past. Time zone's a weird thing, huh? Thank you to everyone who dropped by, and thank you to all the new followers. I really appreciate it. It's good to have you all be a part of the family. I started this with just 2 of my very close friends, and now the family is growing. We have 48 people in total. That's crazy. Wow, you guys are amazing. But yeah, good luck to all of you with your own projects. Good luck with work, studies, whatever it is. Don't give up. Keep pushing through, and you will succeed. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.